If you could go back in time and say one thing to yourself as you turn 60, what would it be? Perhaps you would say, if only I had worried less. Or, I wish I had cared for my body sooner. Or simply, I want to live slower and love myself more. Y'all, I used to not think much about it either. I once thought age 60 was for resting, a time to just stop trying. But then I realized that very letting go lifestyle is what makes us age faster, weaker, and lose ourselves without even realizing it. A study from the United States National Institute on Aging shows people over 60 who maintain an active lifestyle can cut their risk of chronic disease by 40%. What this means is age doesn't determine your health. Your daily habits do. I still remember meeting an old friend in New Jersey. His walk was slow. His hands shook as he poured water. His eyes were full of fatigue. Just a few years ago, he was still healthy. When I asked how he was, he smiled sadly. Probably because I was complacent, thinking that being old and weak is just normal. But it is not. Being weak isn't inevitable. Not taking care of yourself, that is the real reason. We often think, what can I possibly change at this age? But I want to tell you this. Every small action, from a healthy meal, an early night's sleep, a check-in call, can change the rest of your life. And if I could only say one thing to myself at 60, it would be, live as if age 60 is just the beginning. The beginning of a new journey where you love your body more, cherish your sleep more, eat for your health, move to lighten your spirit, and keep your heart full of light. What I am about to share is not theory, nor is it just empty advice. It is real experience, mine and from friends who have lived fully beyond 60. And if you can give yourself a few minutes each day to listen, I believe you too will find something that can change the rest of your life. Stick with me until the end, because the last thing I will share might be the most important, something many people only realize when it is too late. Are you ready? Because you of today and tomorrow deserve to live a life that is healthy, proactive, and full of love. Let's jump right in. Number 1, maintain a healthy diet. If there is one thing I wish I had realized sooner at 60, it is this. The way you eat, it is the way you live. Back then, I just thought, I can eat anything as long as it tastes good. I have worked hard my whole life. I don't need to be so strict. But I was wrong. The body after 60 is not the same. Foods that once had no effect now give me sleepless nights, bloating, and even fatigue all day long. I used to think it was just age, that it happens to everyone. But my doctor told me, it is not age that makes you weak. An improper diet is the hidden culprit. I still vividly remember John, a friend in Sacramento, California, who would go to a diner every morning for donuts and coffee with lots of cream. Lunch was a hamburger and fries, then a frozen pizza for an easy dinner. He often complained of fatigue, dizziness, and trouble sleeping. Yet after just 3 months of eating clean, more green vegetables, grilled fish, less sugar and salt, he was a new man. His voice was clearer, his walk was steadier, and best of all, he was finally sleeping well again after so many years. Food is for fuel, not for accumulating illness. When you are young, you can get away with eating anything and your body can still endure it. But after you pass 60, everything you eat becomes a choice for your health. Green vegetables or fried food, plain water or soda, whole wheat bread or a cold-cut sandwich. The miracle is if you just adjust gradually, a little bit each day, your body knows how to recover. Eating more vegetables, fresh fruit, drinking enough water, cutting back on salt, avoiding processed foods. You are personally tuning up a machine that has run for decades. No new parts needed. I'm not saying you have to make yourself miserable. A healthy diet is not about giving up all joy. It is about finding balance between taste and health, between old habits and your new body. And if you are still on the fence, ask yourself this. Do you often feel bloated, have indigestion, or feel tired after meals? That may be your body's subtle way of telling you it is time for a change, because ultimately what you eat every day does not just affect your stomach, it affected your heart, your memory, your skin, and your lifespan. And the best part is you can start all over, beginning with your very next meal. Number 2, exercise regularly. There is one thing I wish I understood sooner when I entered my 60s. If you do not move, your body will slowly start to fail you bit by bit, silently but surely. I used to think walking a few laps around the house was enough. I still did chores, cooked, and cleaned every day, thinking that counts as activity, right? But then one day while bending down to put on my shoes, I felt a sharp pain in my lower back. A strange pain I had never felt before. That was when I realized your body does not just need to be moved, it needs to be cared for properly. I remember Michael, an old friend from Oregon. He always used to say that exercise is just for young people. But it was not until he fell in the bathroom from a simple slip that he really changed. After that, his doctor advised light stretching, balance exercises, and a walk outside every morning. 6 months later, he called me, his voice beaming. I feel like I am 10 years younger. That miracle happened because he finally stopped neglecting his body. You know, after 60 every day, you skip exercises a day, your muscles get weaker, your joints get stiffer, and your heart and lungs work less efficiently. Exercising is not just about staying in shape, it is about sustaining life in the truest sense. It helps you breathe deeper, sleep better, and critically, it significantly reduces the risk of falls, a leading cause of hospitalization for older adults. The great thing is, you do not need to do anything complicated. Just 20 to 30 minutes a day. It could be walking, gentle cycling, practicing Tai Chi, or even gentle sit-to-stands at home. No gym, no problem, no equipment, not an issue. You just need a good pair of shoes and the decision to start today. Here's a quick test. Try standing on one leg for 10 seconds without holding on to anything. If you wobble, that is your body telling you it needs you more than ever. Regular exercise does not just keep you healthy, it gives you a sense of control. Control over your body, control over today, and control over the years ahead. And you deserve that. Number 3, get regular health checkups. When I was younger, I used to think, if I don't feel any pain, I must be healthy. And I believe you have probably thought the same thing. The truth is, most of us only visit a doctor when we feel sick. But after 60, the body no longer screams out with obvious pain. It changes quietly, declines silently, until one day we discover something has been developing for a long, long time. In America, health insurance covers annual checkups for people over 60. But many people still hesitate. They are afraid of wasting time, afraid of bad results, or simply afraid of the truth. But do you know it is the not knowing that is truly scary? Detecting a small tumor early can save you from a year of chemotherapy. Monitoring your blood pressure regularly can help prevent a sudden stroke in your sleep. I still remember when Linda, a friend in Dallas, Texas, went for a routine checkup only because her daughter insisted. No symptoms, no fatigue, everything seemed fine. But when the results came, the doctor found her blood sugar was bordering on pre-diabetes. An early warning, enough time for her to adjust her diet, get more active, and avoid the disease her mother had struggled with for the last 15 years of her life. That story made me think differently about checkups. It turns out you do not go to find an illness. You go to protect your peace of mind. It is like taking your car for regular maintenance, even if it runs well, not because you are suspicious, but because you value it. You do not need every test at once. Just a general blood test, an abdominal ultrasound, and an electrocardiogram once a year, and asking your doctor about anything you're unsure of is enough to protect yourself. I know you might have left a clinic feeling worried, but if you have ever seen a loved one discover an illness too late, you will understand. Nothing is more heartbreaking than hearing the words, "If only we had known sooner." And you do not need to wait until something happens to go. Because taking care of your health is not about reacting. It is about loving yourself. Loving yourself once a year. It is that simple, but it is enough to lengthen your life's entire journey. Number 4, maintain a positive spirit. Have you ever noticed there are people who, despite not being in perfect health, always seem radiant? And then there are others, with no serious illness, who always seem gloomy and weary. The difference is their spirit. And spirit can sometimes be more powerful than medicine. After 60, we start to feel slower, weaker, and sometimes isolated. But if we let negative emotions take over, then our physical health, even if it is good, will quickly go downhill. Science has proven older adults with a positive outlook on life have a lower risk of heart disease, improved memory, and can live an average of 7 years longer than pessimists. I remember Evelyn, 68 years old, living alone in San Diego after her husband passed away. Her children lived far away, the house was quiet. Many thought she would be terribly sad, but no, she learned to grow flowers in her yard, joined a painting class at the community center, and texted a kind message to her group of senior friends each morning. When I asked where she got her energy, she just smiled and said, "I cannot control everything, but I can choose how I respond." That sentence has stayed with me for a very long time. Maintaining a positive spirit does not mean forcing a smile or being falsely optimistic. It means learning to accept the past, appreciate what remains, and see the beauty in today, no matter how small. A sunny morning, a song that sparks a memory, a call to check on an old friend. These can soothe a worried mind. If you feel yourself closing off from the world, try to open up a little for your own sake. Go for a walk, join a small class, tell your life story to younger people. When you share joy, you are also healing the empty spaces within yourself. Because in the end, you may not be able to choose your circumstances, but you can always choose to be kinder to yourself. And sometimes just a little bit of inner light each day is enough to warm you through your later years. Number 5, get enough quality sleep. Of all the things I once took for granted, sleep is the one I regret most. Because I used to think, I am old now. It does not matter if I sleep early or late. I even went through a phase of staying up until almost midnight, watching movies, browsing news, drinking hot tea to help me sleep. But what I did not realize was those very habits were silently damaging my health. One night at a time. Sleep is not just rest. It is when the body does its repair work. The heart rate slows to protect blood vessels. The liver detoxifies. The brain organizes memories. Your joints get a chance to recover, but this all happens only when you are getting enough quality sleep. After 60, the body's biological clock gets more sensitive. Sleeping late, fitfully, or for fewer than 6 hours a night puts you at a higher risk for depression, diabetes, heart disease, and cognitive decline. And this is not uncommon, especially in the Asian American senior community, where many carry the habit of staying up late like back home into their new lives without adapting. I once spoke with Margaret, 72 years old from Seattle. She had high blood pressure, was often tired, and had trouble concentrating. Everyone blamed her age. But when she saw a doctor, he not only prescribed medicine, he also had her log her bedtime each night. It turned out she usually fell asleep after 1 a.m., woke in the middle of the night, and could not get back to sleep. After 3 weeks of shifting her bedtime to before 10 p.m., turning off all electronics by 9 p.m., and drinking warm water instead of coffee, her blood pressure stabilized and her mind felt sharper. Most importantly, she felt alive again. If you feel tired when you wake up, groggy during the day, or struggle to get back to sleep after waking at 3 a.m., it is not just old age. It is a signal that your sleep is compromised. The solution is not complicated. Just set a consistent sleep-wake time, avoid late dinners, reduce blue light in the evening, and keep your bedroom cool and quiet. Treat sleep like an important appointment where you come back to care for yourself after a long day. Because after all, sleeping enough does not just help you live longer. It helps you live more clearly and joyfully every single day. And you absolutely deserve that. If you are still watching and finding this helpful, drop a 5 in the comments to let me know. And if you have not subscribed yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us create more content just like this to help and inspire you. Number 6, avoid prolonged stress. There is something that seems invisible, but can harm us more deeply than any physical illness. It is stress. Unlike a headache or joint pain, stress is not easy to pinpoint. It silently erodes you day by day, making your heart beat faster, your sleep lighter, your memory worse, and leaving you feeling emotionally exhausted for no reason. After 60, our nervous system is more sensitive. A small worry can disrupt blood pressure. A fleeting moment of anger can leave you feeling lethargic all day. Chronic stress has even been linked to an increased risk of stroke, Alzheimer's, and chronic inflammatory diseases. I still remember David, a 66-year-old retired engineer in Houston. After his wife passed away, he barely spoke to anyone. Every day he would browse the news, worrying about society, finances, his health, and shut himself away in his small, silent house. When I saw him again after nearly a year, I did not recognize him. His skin had darkened, his voice was slow, and his eyes were filled with tension. But when he started joining a mindfulness meditation group every Wednesday at a nearby church, and then started light morning walks with a new friend, he slowly came back to himself. Not quickly, but enough for him to say something I will never forget. I learned how to breathe again like a normal person. The thing is, many people do not realize they are stressed because it does not come as one big event, but from small accumulations every day, like living alone, fearing illness, worrying about being a burden, or regret over the past. So managing stress is not about not thinking at all, but learning to release it gently. It could be sitting down and writing down what is worrying you, calling a friend, walking in nature, turning off the TV earlier, or simply taking a deep breath in, a slow breath out, and telling yourself, it is going to be okay, and I am going to be okay. You cannot control all your circumstances, but you always have the power to choose how you respond to them. And sometimes what keeps you healthy is not in a pill, but in the peace you find within. Number 7, spend time with family. When you look back on the years that have passed, what stands out most in your memory? Is it a house, a home, or is it the evenings spent surrounded by the laughter of your children and grandchildren? I used to think that your 60s were a time for living separately to get some peace, but the older I get, the more I realize the thing that keeps my heart warm is not silence. It is connection. Science has proven older adults with positive family relationships live longer, are less depressed, and recover faster from illness. Because that affection, when nurtured, becomes your very own spiritual immune system. I remember Tom, 70 years old, living in a suburb near Denver. After retiring, he moved into a small apartment to have his own space. He loved the freedom, but gradually he called his son less, declined family gatherings, and started finding it harder to sleep. One day his granddaughter, Ella, made him a birthday card by hand and biked over to give it to him. And just like that, he cried. Not from sentimentality, but because he realized he had been missing moments he could never get back. The older you get, the more your loved ones become the most powerful medicine there is. You do not always need a big family dinner or to travel together like in the commercials. Sometimes just a phone call or sending an old photo with a message like, "Dad still remembers this day," is enough to close any distance between you. And let me also gently remind you, do not wait for a special occasion. Call when you miss them, and ask how they are when you have a free moment. Give a compliment when you feel it. Those small things, when added up, become the warm bond that keeps a family tightly knit. Because in the end, family is not just where you came from. It is where your heart can always come home, no matter what age you are. Number 8, never stop learning. Did you know that the brain, just like a muscle, will slowly weaken if you do not use it? I used to think learning was a young person's game. After 60, just living slowly and resting was enough. But then I realized, if the mind is no longer hungry for new things, then life itself slowly becomes repetitive and dull. After 60, learning is not just about knowing, it is about living healthier, more joyfully, and keeping your brain sharp. Many studies in the United States have shown older adults who keep learning by reading, learning a language, playing an instrument, or even just using a smartphone can lower their risk of dementia and hold on to their memories longer. I once met Susan, 67 years old, from Portland, Oregon. After retiring, she spent most of her time watching TV and rereading old books. But one day, she saw an ad for a personal memoir writing for seniors course at the local library. She signed up, though she was a bit shy at first. But after just a few months, she had written nearly 100 pages about her life, things she had never told anyone. She beamed and said, "I am rediscovering myself with every word." Her story made me understand something. Learning is not always about classrooms, textbooks, or degrees. Learning is trying something new, asking a new question, or simply listening to a new song with an open mind. You do not have to keep up with anyone. Just give your mind something to be curious about each day, something to explore, and you are protecting your own mental health. Maybe you learn to paint from a YouTube video, or try cooking a new dish, or learn about places you have never been. The important thing is not the result. It is the journey of rediscovering yourself. Because your wisdom does not age, only your mind does, if you stop nourishing it. And what is more beautiful than a mind that still finds wonder, no matter how many springs it has seen? Number 9, save and manage finances wisely. One of the biggest anxieties for many older adults, yet one of the least talked about, is money. Not because they want to be wealthy, but because they want peace of mind. The peace of mind of knowing they have enough to live comfortably, not be a burden to their children, and can actively choose the life they want. Many seniors in America still hold old mindsets: keep cash at home for safety, save it in case of illness, or not spending money is being smart. But my friend, saving is necessary, but smart management is even more important. Knowing how to spend right, spend on your health, on experiences, spend to live a lighter life. That is what using money wisely is all about. I once knew Larry, a retired electrician from Phoenix, Arizona. After retiring, he lived only on a small pension and his savings from years of work. At first, he was very frugal, even skipping regular checkups because he feared wasting money. But then a friend told him about a free financial counseling center for seniors in his community. There he learned how to make a monthly budget, optimize his Social Security benefits, and set aside a fund for personal enjoyment. As a result, he not only felt relieved, he also bought a ticket to New York to visit his granddaughter for the first time, after 5 years of only phone calls. That story reminded me, finances are not about numbers. They are about being proactive. Try starting small. Track your monthly expenses. Review your current insurance policies. See if you qualify for any more community assistance. And especially, do not be afraid to learn to use basic financial management apps, because you absolutely can. Money does not define your worth, but knowing how to control it helps you live independently, with choices, and without having to watch every single penny. Think of your money as a companion. If you know how to treat it with care, it will be there for you for the rest of the journey. You have just gone through 9 things with me that seem very small, but can change your entire journey after 60. From a simple meal, a slow walk, a good night's sleep, to a phone call to check on family, or learning one new thing. Each of these, if you choose them every day, will build a lifestyle that is stable, peaceful, and kind to yourself. I know you cannot turn back time, neither can I. But the great thing is, you do not have to be young again to start living fully. You just have to start right now. If I could go back and say just one thing to myself at 60, I would say, do not wait until there is a problem to change. Live proactively, because these years are not the end, but they can be the most beautiful part if you allow them to be. You do not have to do all of these things at once. Just choose one thing, one small thing, and start this week. It could be going to bed half an hour earlier, calling an old friend, or just stepping outside to breathe the morning air. Because every small change today is a seed for your strength tomorrow. If this was helpful, please share it with someone you care about. And if something here resonated with you, I would love for you to leave a comment. I really want to hear your story. You can type a want one if you feel ready to start, or a though if you are still feeling hesitant. I will be here to cheer you on, and you deserve to live like that, healthy, sharp, lighthearted, and full of love. I will see you in the next video, where I will share more subtle yet important things to help you continue on this journey with more confidence.